Hello there, my fellow gamers. Just in time for when it gets very uncomfortable to get outside, Remedy Entertainment just did it again and launched another mind-bending action story game that fits this time of the year simply perfectly with its dark and gloomy atmosphere. Alan Wake 2 is the successor to the modern classic that was the series' first installment that came out almost a decade ago. And not only are we back in Bright Falls where it all started, but with updated graphics, utilizing every last bit of next-gen tech available right now, the small town with a dark secret has never looked this good. To make sure you are fully immersed in the story around the eccentric writer with smooth frame rates, you do need quite a bit of GPU grunt. So Nvidia sponsored today's video so we can bring you this deep dive into some of the game's technical marvels, as well as Team Green's secret weapon for all those juicy frames in the form of DLSS 3.5. So get yourself a hot cup of tea, sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of ray-traced lighting, AI-generated frames, ritualistic cult crimes, and a video game story that will make your head spin. So what is DLSS 3.5? Well, actually it's a whole host of different technologies and features, with basically two main objectives: increasing image quality with accurate and realistic visuals, and at the same time increasing performance, so that as many of you guys can actually enjoy those very visuals. The second is especially important if you go mobile, as we will do today. In laptops, even when talking about high-end machines, like our weapon of choice today, the Asus ROG M16, with Nvidia's mobile flagship, the RTX 4090 beating at its heart, the times of simply trying to increase performance by brute forcing it with more power are long gone. Not only are laptops restricted by their size, but power delivery, noise and heat are also concerns and severe limitations. That is why Nvidia introduced DLSS a few years ago, basically rendering your games at a lower resolution and then scaling things up with a supercomputer-trained AI model that is accelerated locally by the tensor cores inside almost every modern Nvidia GPU. With DLSS 3, the tech went through its next evolution by adding fully AI-generated frames into the mix, giving you a tremendous performance boost. And guys, all of this is happening within the same power, space and heat requirements, basically circumventing the physical limitations within a laptop chassis and still allowing for super smooth frame rates in insanely demanding games like Alan Wake 2. But enough with the theoretical stuff. Before we get into the improved visuals with things like ray reconstruction and the general benefits of ray-traced and even path-traced lighting, let's put Nvidia's performance tech to the test. We started our testing in the high preset, but without any ray-traced effects, and in the M16's native display resolution, the mobile RTX 4090 graced us with a pretty beefy 60 FPS to begin with. Giving our graphics the added ray-traced visual treatment tanked our average FPS to a pretty choppy 26 FPS. But taking advantage of everything we talked about before, step by step, brings things confidently into much smoother territory. Starting with ray reconstruction for a few extra FPS, DLSS in its quality setting makes things easily playable at 50 FPS, while the afterburner in the form of frame generation takes us well beyond our initial native results with a pretty impressive 80-ish FPS. And guys, we are just talking about changing a few settings here. All of this is baked into the latest Team Green GPU generation and runs without any disadvantages regarding noise, heat or power draw. But as we established in the beginning, all the performance in the world isn't doing you any favors if it doesn't look good in the end. And boy, this game looks exceptional. And it's not like it's a bad looking game without ray tracing, but it just adds so much in terms of subtle realism that simply takes immersion to another level, which is beautifully showcased with the moody setting and overall art style from the folks over at Remedy Entertainment. Everything from the haunted forest around Cauldron Lake to the laid-back town of Bright Falls to some of the more intense and otherworldly rendered chapters looks simply stunning. Alan Wake 2 is taking advantage of almost everything that is available when it comes to physics-based lighting in video games. And with full path tracing, reflections, materials and general global illumination, it looks not only amazing but also incredibly real. But where there's light, there is shadow, and accurately tracking and bouncing light rays through a real-time rendered scene is no easy feat, and requires some insane hardware grunt. That is why developers use just a handful of light rays to simulate a ray-traced scene that would not look like much in a best-case scenario or be full of artifacts, ghosting and overall a lower quality image at worst. To counteract that limitation, Nvidia launched ray reconstruction with CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077's 2.0 update a few months ago, and Remedy just added the very same tech into Alan Wake 2. And since I do not want to get too technical in this video, it is basically, once more, a supercomputer-trained AI model fed with an insane amount of data to combat any misinterpretation for ray-traced scenes. And with the help of your local RTX GPU, that AI model is brought to life with the tensor cores to make sure you can enjoy a noise and artifact-free image to immerse yourself fully in your game. But I know, folks, I'm aware that not every one of you guys can take advantage of the latest GPUs Nvidia has to offer. So I can kind of relate when you are thinking that all of this sounds pretty great, but that all of this tech is only accessible by a select few. But this is where GeForce Now comes in, and while I totally get it when you have your reservations against game streaming, you should definitely give it a try. Nvidia servers run on desktop RTX 4080s, so you can easily take advantage of everything we just talked about without the limitations of your personal machines. So I enjoyed quite a large part of my playthrough of Alan Wake 2 on this handheld, which does not even have a dedicated GPU, and I was able to run the game in the same QHD Plus resolution and with maxed out settings. And since I do not have to run it locally, I was able to enjoy a quiet gaming experience with drastically improved battery life as well. Alright folks, this shall be it for today, with our little excursion into the world of modern game graphics. I hope this wasn't too technical, and please let us know what you think about the direction we are heading with the latest developments and advancements to video game visuals and graphics tech. Sound off in the comments below. A big shout out to Nvidia for sponsoring today's video, and if you want to dive deeper into the world of ray traced lighting and AI assisted FPS boosts, I left a couple of links in the description for you to check out. As always, thanks a ton for watching. My name is Alex, you have been awesome, and I cannot wait to see you all in the next one. Take care.